Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the two Ewes of Two Ewes Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at twoewesfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our Two Ewes Fiber Adventures group on Rambouillet. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Rambouillet, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. All right, hang on a second. I have to get to the meeting. Okay, there we go. All right, Kelly.
Hi,
hello.
Marsha.
Let's tell everybody what we're doing.
This is not a phone call, and we are live streaming on Zoom. So Marsha and I are both on Zoom, and we have some guests listening in. We have Cheryl and Joy and Julie and Christina and Mary Beth from Pittsburgh. Hi, Mary Beth. I didn't get a chance to say hi to you when you first joined in. So we have some guests listening in. It's super exciting.
And I have a guest. Can you see over my, will be my right shoulder? No, I'm sorry, my left shoulder. Can you see my guest on the bed?
He looks like he's very uninterested in the show.
He's very uninterested, yeah. Well, Kelly, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I also have a guest that I'm going to just move the camera just slightly.
Oh, you have a flat dog.
Yes. She really likes the trailer. She's mostly very good in the trailer. So this is my home office for the duration, the rest of the semester. I think this is going to be my home office because I don't have a space where I have an office. I have a lot of yarn space and I have places where I knit, but I don't have places where I do schoolwork for the most part at home. So I've taken over the trailer, and that way my stuff can just spread out and stay like my office at school. Which would give Robert the itch if he had to look at that in the house. So what about you?
I'm doing well. I'm recording. I'm up in the bedroom. This is where my desk is. This is where I normally record. You can see there's Enzo on the bed.
Oh, okay. I'm picturing it. I'm picturing
it
now. That's the desk that you put for the fix it or nix it. You put the fabric.
I'm going to lift this up, and I'll turn it around, and there's my desk.
Okay.
You can see my secretary that I put the lining in. That my fix it or nix it. What I didn't show, I haven't posted a picture of it, but I had a cushion made for my chair.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to get up and show you my chair.
All
I'll lift it up. There's my cushion that I had made. Now, some people are not going to see that, right? This is going to be a bad podcast because there's no video when it goes out.
Yeah, sorry to all of you who are listening to the audio recording after the fact. We have never done this on video before, so it's going to be a little different to make sure that we're describing things as well as just showing. So
yes, yeah, I'm doing well. Sequestered in the house. I've been out to walk the dog. I haven't been to the grocery store in it's probably 2 weeks now, 10 days. And I did place an order with Metropolitan Market. It's a chain out here in Seattle for food to be delivered. And I was all excited because it said it had about a 2-hour window that I could have the food delivered. Mm-hmm. But then when you actually go in and make the purchase, it's actually 5 days. So I placed the order yesterday, which was Wednesday, and I'll have the food delivered on Tuesday.
So like a week, almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think, and I don't think that's well, I'm pretty sure that's not a normal window. I think there's just so many people now are choosing to have their food delivered instead of going out. So anyway, but yeah, I've just been in the house cleaning. Look. Let me show how clean. Look at the nightstand, how clean it is. There's my taxes.
Okay. Marsha's been getting a lot done.
Yes. And then this morning, so Ben, my son, his last final was yesterday. Of course, all done online. today's his first free day. And so he talked me into going down in the basement, and I did not want to do this. I was resisting it. I don't want to, but there's so many family photographs. I have 2 big wood Haut chests full of family photographs and probably another 8 boxes full of family photographs. And so he made me start going through them today. So I started like looking at every single photo, and some that I don't know what it is. It went in the pile to go, the garbage. And then some that I want to keep. And then people of family members that I have now made piles that I'm going to just send those to those family members. I'm not going to tell them. I'm just going to put them in the mail and send them to them.
I like that idea.
I'm not going to ask permission to send them.
I like that
Anyway.
idea a lot. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you asked permission,
They'll just say no, and I can't send. I can't just throw them away. I have to send them. So anyway. Well, do you want to talk about projects?
yeah, let's get started on projects. We have some other chit chat and updates and stuff, but we can do our
let's
our
see what people are
projects
saying.
first.
I haven't been paying attention to this.
Yeah, Jen has joined us now.
A lot of people are working out the technology so far.
Yeah. It doesn't help that everybody's on these platforms. And so, the platforms are having difficulties on top of people who, have been trying to use it who really aren't necessarily sure of what they're doing. We're all learning. I'm learning so much. It's amazing, kind of amazing. I'll talk about my school stuff a little bit later, but yeah, I'm learning so much trying to get all my stuff so that my students can do online learning. All right. So what about your projects, Marsha? You want to start or should I?
I'll start. So I find I'm not knitting while we're doing this because there's so much to manage, but I have to reach over here. I grabbed the wrong shawl. Oh, well, it's so funny. So I've been working on that Dusk Into Twilight Shawl by Rosemary Hill. And I'm all done with the rows that require the wrap and turns, the short rows. I'm all done with that. And I have 1 row of maybe 8 rows of just straight stockinette. And then I will start the row of lace.
Oh, all your section.
And then I'll be done.
That's your last section, right? The lace?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the short row sections are done. So I've been making pretty good progress on that. I've been picking it up sporadically, but what I really been working on, let me just say too, I've not even picked up the John O Groats socks since we last recorded. They've just been sitting there. But what I've been really working on is my sweater, the pullover, and Sarah, Sal Pal 1, corrected my pronunciation. It's actually,
good.
I've been calling it, it's actually called Isla Haut. And it's, that is an island in Maine. And I actually went to Wikipedia to look up, it's in Maine. It's an island and it has a population of 73 people. And it's famous for its lighthouse. There you go.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The last time we recorded, I had finished 1 sleeve and half of the other sleeve. I've now, I'm going to hold it up so people can see who are watching, but I finished, I don't know if you can see, I finished both sleeves.
Okay.
And I've attached it to the body. I put doing the raglans.
Okay. Cool.
I think I have about 8 more rows of the yoke shaping, and then I'll start doing short rows for the back, and then I'll finish the neck. Okay, so the neck is kind of like this funnel neck. So I have to do that then. And when we last recorded, I also was talking about the knots that I'm finding in the yarn. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a lot, 10 or so, 10, 12, 15. And so it's Imperial Yarn Company, Columbia. It's a woolen spun worsted weight, worsted to aran. And I was contacted by Sue, one of our listeners, who knew a little bit more about the company than I did. So, Kelly, do you remember when we went to Portland a number of years ago for the Rose City Yarn Crawl? And we went to one of the shops, I cannot remember the name of it, but the owner of Imperial Stock Ranch was there. And she had the bummer lamb.
Oh, right. I do remember.
And she also had one of the infamous infamous or famous, I don't know, Olympic sweaters.
Oh, right. Those ones that were so ugly.
Do you remember the story of the Olympic sweater that Ralph Lauren had designed the sweater, but they found out for one of he had designed clothing for one of the Olympics. I don't remember if it was summer or winter, but then after the fact, they found out the clothing was all made in China. So for the Winter Olympics that year, they really wanted Ralph Lauren's the Olympic uniforms to be made in the United States. And so it was the Winter Olympics, and they had a wool sweater, and it was the Imperial Stock Ranch wool that was used for the sweaters. In my opinion, probably the ugliest sweater I've ever seen in my life. But I love the fact that it was anyway, she had one of those sweaters there, and then she had this bummer lamb. But anyway, Sue knew a little bit more, and she said that the Janine, who with her husband owned Imperial Stock Ranch, actually sold off the yarn component and no longer owns it. And I was looking online to see if you can buy Imperial Yarn Columbia anymore, and I can find it on different websites, but they have really limited stock. 2 skeins, 3 skeins, something like that. So I'm guessing it's just out of production now, that whoever, the company that took over the line is not making it anymore. That's what I'm guessing. So, but the ranch is still in business. The website, Imperial Yarns, it's still up, but it's not active anymore. And the ranch now has changed names, and it's now, people don't probably care about all this, but it's just interesting to me. She's changed the name now to Shaniko Wool Company, because Shaniko, Oregon is where the ranch is located, and it was, at the turn of the century, it was the wool capital of the world. Interesting, I learned. So anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with the yarn. I think it is a quality control issue after the yarn was, she let the brand go to this other company. And apparently, because of those problems, it's just not in production anymore. So, and then the other thing I wanted to say about it is do you remember, Kelly, I put in an extra 8 stitches to get more ease?
Right. Yeah.
And when I joined the arms to start the yoke, I decided I needed to get those 8 stitches out so it wouldn't be too big through the shoulders. So the perfect thing is there's 4 raglans, 2 stitch decrease at each raglan. That's 8 stitches. So I just put at the beginning of when I first joined the arm or the sleeves to the body, I just did an extra row and got rid of those stitches. So.
Oh, that made it easy.
Anyway, that's it for projects for me.
Okay.
I know. Nice. It's nice when math works out.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to try something. I'm just going to share my screen and show people the pattern that Marsha is using. Let's see if I can do this just so that I can.
Oh, and while you're doing that, I'm just going to say, I'm just reading the comments. And Julie, thank you, Julie. You said that you are interested in the story of Columbia. Okay.
Nice. This is the Haut. Okay.
I see it. I see my Haut pullover.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I have on the screen. So this is the pattern. I won't change around screens more than this. I'll just show this one picture. Yeah, this one picture of it. I think it's a really nice looking sweater. I know, it looks great on the model.
Have it done. It's going to look like that on me.
You're going to sit on the beach,
God willing,
at Seabrook, wearing your sweater and your jeans and your flip-flops, and get your picture taken just like that. That's what you should put in your project page.
The thing is, it's too cold on the Washington coast to wear your flip-flops like that. But
oh, well.
Not really, but yeah, I'm going to do it. You can take my picture.
I'll take your picture, yeah. I hope I don't know if we'll be able to go this summer, but.
Oh, Kelly, I would say we should just let people know that you and Robert are planning on coming up to the Washington coast in June.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a house reserved, and I've been in contact with Seabrook that it's still we're still planning on doing it, and they're still expecting us to come, but they have a very loose cancellation policy now because of current events.
So my projects, I guess I should start with mine. So right now, I'm not working on it currently. I brought it down to work on as I was waiting for the podcast to get started. But what I'm doing now is I'm making a hat, and this is my yarn from Seabrook that I bought.
Oh,
at
right, yeah.
This is the Seabrook colorway. I can't remember what the name of it was, but from Little Fish Stitches. And I made socks out of it, and I had quite a bit left. And then I found this was in my sock yarn scraps. I'm not even sure why I have white fingering weight yarn. This might have come from my mom. And so I'm just holding the two strands together and making one of those mash it up hats. So I started this the other night because I just needed a easy project to work on. So, but I'm down to very few sock scraps. So now I'm on to things like leftover sock yarn. So I have like this leftover sock yarn from Robert's Argyles and bigger scraps of sock yarn that I'm working on. So the main thing that I've been working on is this. This is my Marianne's cardigan. It's the cardigan that it's by Trina Bertelsen, and it has a crochet yoke, and then the body is knit. And let me just show people what I was, since we're on video this time, let me just show people the little area. I don't know if you can see. This is the area where I'm alternating stitches. So you can definitely see it, but it's not nearly as messy as it was. It's once I ripped it out and started over, I think it's a lot better. So I am not ripping back. I'm going to keep going. I did try it on, and even though it's at the front of the armhole, it's not on the front of the sweater. It's really under my arm still. So that's been making good progress. I don't know, maybe 10 inches down, 10 or 11 inches down.
And how long do you have to make it?
I don't remember the length of the t-shirts that I've made in the past, but I will go measure the ones that I really like the length of, and I'll make it that length. There's a crochet edging that'll go on the bottom of this, and then it'll have short sleeves, and it'll have a crochet edging. I'm going to put crochet edging on the sleeves. The pattern doesn't call for a crochet edging at the bottom, but I think that's what I'm going to do. And this is originally designed as a cardigan, but I decided to do it as a pullover. And so I really like this detail. I left the yoke crocheted flat, so I will have a couple of buttons. Right now I just have a stitch marker there, crochet stitch marker, but I'll have a couple of buttons at the top of the back of the crocheted yoke. And so I think that'll be nice. I have some pearl buttons. Well, I have lots of buttons. I should do on Instagram?
You have a few.
I should do an Instagram, one of those Instagram lives, a tour of my button stash. I might do that. Once I get my classes squared away where I don't feel so busy, I'm going to do that. I think
I won't watch, Kelly.
Yeah, Marsha does not like old buttons. So that's that project. And then I have not worked at all, and I need to get started back on it, on the Sunny Bono jacket, but I am going to show it since this is an opportunity.
Yes, well, and just so you know, we have a comment from Mary Beth in Pittsburgh. Kelly, any chance you could show your Sunny Bono? So yes, now we're going to
good. Okay, perfect. So here is the Sunny Bono jacket. And
look at that big hairy thing.
Yes. And here's the collar, so that will flip over, and then I have to add stitches. And I have the same thing on the other side. And here's my leftover yarn to finish the collar up. And that's that. Oh, you can't. It's pretty much the same on the outside and the inside because it's garter stitch. So, and then I have my one sleeve is done and it's actually sewn up. So I have a whole Sunny Bono jacket sleeve. This is going to be so cool when it's done. And then I have the other Sunny Bono jacket sleeve is half done. And then I have my extra skein of yarn that I got from Stitches. So I should easily be able to finish this and the collar. So, but, well, I was going to say it won't be cold enough to wear it, but the craziest thing, here it is, the end of March. We had, last night, I guess, got really cold. It didn't feel really cold because our heater is installed. We have a furnace that's working.
Yes, so exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. But this morning when we got up, there was snow on Mount Toro. And, I mean, Mount Toro is, I don't know how tall it is. Probably not even 1,000 feet. You know, here we are so close to the ocean, and Mount Toro is just a little bitty thing. And we had snow on Mount Toro this morning. It's all gone now, but so it is actually cold here, and I might get some wear out of this still this season. So that's the Sunny Bono jacket, the named by our friend Janice. And I have to move my camera for a second here because when I got the Sunny Bono jacket out, now I have all sorts of veg matter all over my computer keyboard because this is hand spun mohair.
Oh, okay.
And so when I picked it up, little particles of things fell off. So let me just I'm just gonna turn my computer sideways and blow all that off my keyboard so it doesn't get inside. All right.
Get in the keyboard.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So that's, I'm glad I thought to bring it. So there you go, Mary Beth, my Sunny Bono jacket, just for you. Oh, and then what else do I have that I'm working on? I don't think that, oh, I know, my Ruana.
Oh, right.
So I am going to share my screen again. So this Ruana is made out of a Cotswold yarn, and it was yarn that I just shared my screen, so it should come up in just a little bit. It's yarn that I spun from a fleece that I purchased when I first started spinning, so sometime in 98 or 99. And I ordered 2 fleeces, and they were so dirty. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what they should look like, so I didn't care. But I called them my barn in a box because they smelled exactly like a barnyard. And had, tags, manure tags and all kinds of stuff. But I washed it and carded it and spun it, and it's just been sitting since then. So probably finished the yarn maybe before 2000. I finished the yarn, and then I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I thought I would figure something out, and I did. I figured out to make this Ruana. So it's going to be let me show you the other picture.
So I have a question about that picture that I'm looking at right now. Is the did you change colors? Because there's that darker stripe of gray, or is that just how it naturally spun up?
Yeah, that's how it spun up. I flicked the locks, which means I had like a dog brush, and so lock by lock, I brushed out the locks. I had like a magazine on my lap, and then I would scrape the dog brush against the locks to open them up, and then I just spun it. So as I picked out the locks, the fleece was different shades of silver and gray. not very much was really super dark, and not very much was totally white, but there was everything in that span. And so it's just how the yarn was spun up. And I'll tell you, this is not nice hand spun. So if you're thinking, wow, she was a good spinner when she first started, no, this is not really good hand spun. This is beginner 2-ply hand spun. It's underspun in some places, it's underplied in some places, it's overplied in some places. And this is just what happens when you start weaving with your hand spun. It just turns out so pretty. So this picture that you should be seeing now has a slit. Do you see? Are you seeing the picture with a slit? Yeah. So I wove it for a while, one solid rectangle, and then I split it into 2, and that's where my neck is going to go. And so it will hang down in the front. Oh, okay. These 2 sides will hang down in the front. Let me see. So, and Kelly, I have a question about the fabric. It's kind of it's sort of open looking, and that's that's intentional, right? That's to allow when you wash it for the fiber to expand and fill in those. Okay. Yeah, when you weave, you want space in between your yarn in your weft and in your, unless you're doing something like a rug. You really don't want to pack your wefts right close together. You want to leave some space in between the weft yarns so that they can expand when you wash it, and so that it can kind of move around and find its kind of spot when you wet finish it. So, and now you should probably be seeing a picture of the yarn. Yeah, so, I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yeah. But there are places where it's really loosely spun. And then there are places like here, it's more tightly spun. Yeah. I'm not sure how much of that you can see. But, so it's not the kind of hand spun that would win a prize if I put it at the fair. I think it's gorgeous. I love the fleece so much. But, this is not that great of spinning, but it's making a beautiful fabric. So I'm really super excited to have this project be close to finished. That fleece was so beautiful, even dirty. It was so beautiful. And it's just been waiting for all these years to become a project. So that's my Cotswold Ruana. And then I think that's maybe all of my projects. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's it. That's the only things I have going. I'm looking at the comments, and I was about the color of the Seabrook yarn. I think that's called Sunset, Kelly. Oh, right. Seabrook Sunset? Yeah. I think that's right. That sounds right. And the yarn dyer is Little Fish. We can never say this. Little Fish Stitches. I don't know how to pronounce this, but the JFNYLAND. Oh, that's Jen. Yes, that's there Jen. You are. You want to see the notorious button stash. You're welcome. I will not join you on the tour. So this is, here it is, the Seabrook color. Oh, it's the same person. Yes, about the color. Yes, so it is. I'm pretty sure that's the Sunset. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. So, what else do we have in terms of projects? Nothing, right? No. Well, I can talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about my project of getting my teaching all online. Okay. That other people, I'm sure, having to do this too with teaching and also with work and. Everybody's learning how to do things remotely, and I had taught online classes for University of Phoenix years ago, back when it was done through something called news groups. So I had learned some of the principles, but the technology is totally different. And so I have really, I've really been working hard to get the technology. But one thing I did find out, I discovered last night, one of my classes is a night class for 2 hours, and we do it twice a week. 2 hours is just too long to do a Zoom class. I was exhausted at the end of it. That's just too long. So I'm doing things synchronously this week. So I'm meeting my students during the regular time that their class was, but I am not going to be doing that probably past next week. I'll do some class meetings synchronously, like maybe the first half of the class time. But I'm going to be putting a lot of stuff online for them to do, on their own time, more like a regular online class, because, oh my gosh, that was exhausting last night. I mean, I thought it was exhausting getting ready, but actually doing it was a lot more tiring. So, and I mean, we're doing this now. This doesn't feel tiring to me, but I don't feel so responsible.
Yeah.
Like that everybody's learning something as they listen to us. So, but yeah, it was online this morning, and Rachel was talking about her experience getting ready, putting her classes online. So,
my only experience with the Zoom, of course, I'm obviously not teaching and I'm not taking any classes, but just the Knockers retreat. We had a meetup twice now. I think we've done that. And then I've had like Zoom cocktail hours. Because my regular Saturday group that comes over for dinner every night, we're not getting together. So we just meet and have a cocktail at 6:00. But if it goes on 2 hours and I keep topping off, not a good thing. Because normally I'm not just sitting there. I'm going and getting dinner, and now I have to just sit there, and it's like, oh, okay. I don't know if we're going to get dinner on
your
this.
drink goes down a lot faster.
Yes, if I'm just sitting there. So, yeah. Anyway, you can't do that when you're teaching, though. Yeah. So, Kelly, before we go on, I'm just going to, we took a little break, and I grabbed my shawl.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So, there we go. I'm going to show it. Except I dropped a stitch right as I was about to show it. I have to put it back on the needles. Okay. I don't know if you can see this. I'm in the middle of a row. Hang on. Let me turn it. It's inside out. I'm in the middle of a row, but you can see. Oh, wait a minute. It goes this way. This is the top. You can see all my short rows.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm down here in the bottom, and I'm putting in, I have about just 8 straight rows of stockinette of the rust color.
Can you put it a little closer to the camera?
Oh, sure.
And then hold it real still?
Okay, you're asking a lot.
Sorry.
Okay, can you see it?
Let's see if it will focus. Yeah, that's not bad. When you move it, it unfocuses.
Okay, I'll try to hold it.
No, that looks good. That's good.
So, I'm working on that, and then, so this is, Kelly, this is the yarn that you dyed.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's, the 2 body colors are the rust and the multi.
Yeah.
And in between is this aqua color. And then when I get to the bottom, that last band of lace will all be in the aqua.
I love that color.
I know. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the camera and the light don't do it justice. It looks, what I'm seeing on my screen, it looks quite blue.
Mm-hmm. And
it's more of like a greeny, turquoisey, aqua color. People know what aqua is. And then I'll show my project bag too. This is off topic now, but the first trip that Kim and I did to Scotland, and we went to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, I bought this little project bag. I'll hold that up.
That's cute.
I think the company was Woolly Wonders, and it's she machine knits out of Jameson the fabric, and then she sews these little project bags. And I like it too. Mine is just a solid color inside. You can't really see that very well, but it's Scottish linen. And Kim bought one also, nice. But the inside's print, really cute. And again, off topic, but I got this because it has this X right here, and that's supposed to represent the Scottish flag.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
So anyway, yeah, so that's my shawl I've been working on. And Kelly, I really like this yarn, and I really like the colors.
Thank you. I like the way the yarn.
Good job.
I like the way the yarn feels. I'm interested in making something out of it. Yeah.
It was interesting. I should just say when I was down, I came to visit you in February before we went to Stitches, and we did a lot of dyeing the week before we went to Stitches. And it's really interesting, our color palettes, because I have a tendency to go a lot of dye, intense colors, and you tend to go more like this shawl, more subtle colors.
That particular dyeing session too, I was kind of trying to do I had kind of a list of things I wanted to try to accomplish. Yeah. So, yeah.
I like what I dye. I'm not saying I don't like what I dye, but it's just interesting. You're more reserved. I tend to just like, hey, let's just throw some dye on there and a lot of dye, and let's go with the color, and woo! There's so many beautiful colors. Let's use them all. And sometimes less is more, right?
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Because we're all in isolation, and everybody's out there trying to find ways to connect through Zoom and everything. I've always known about the knitters, Arna and Carlos. And anyway, they're doing a quarantine knit along. And so the story is, I guess they were traveling, and when they came back to Norway, the government said they had to go in quarantine because they had been exposed outside of the country. So they don't have the coronavirus, but they have to be quarantined. So they're in their house, and so they've been putting out a video podcast every day, Monday through Friday. And each day they release a pattern for a little square. And then at the end of the 10 days, you'll have 10 squares, and then they're going to reveal how you put them together and what you're making. So it's kind of a mystery quarantine knit along. I'm not doing the knit along, but I think they are so funny because they're quarantined in their house. They can't go anywhere. They can go out to the mailbox and they can walk their dog. But otherwise, they can't go grocery shopping, so they're emailing their grocery list to the neighbor, and the neighbor goes and buys them food and leaves it on the front porch. And they're just trying to they're so funny because sometimes life in your house can be really mundane, but they're trying to make things exciting and interesting. And so Arna was talking about how he makes coffee in the morning. And so one morning he'd get up and he'd put the water in the coffee pot first, and then he'd put the coffee in. And then the next morning to mix it up, he'd put the coffee in first, and then he'd put the water in. And then one morning to mix it up, Carlos went, and that Arna had made the coffee the night before. It was ready to go. All Carlos had to do was push the button in the morning. And he pushed the button and nothing happened because he didn't push it hard enough. So then he got to push it a second time, and the excitement about pushing
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to watch another one of those. I watched the first one, but I haven't watched.
It's so utterly ridiculous, but it's also just so funny, and how how finding kind of joy and excitement in these mundane things that we do every day, like making coffee, or they spend a lot of time picking out their clothes every day. And I know a lot of people have talked about this during this time of being in our homes. Is you have to get up and get dressed every morning and take a shower and style your hair, and so they make a big point of always picking out a shirt and putting on a shirt every day and showering every day, and which I've been doing.
I have to say, I mean, I guess if it makes you feel bad to stay in your pajamas all day, that's fine. But I have to say, there's pleasure to me in not having to get dressed. I mean, I got dressed this morning.
Thank you.
But I don't mind. I mean, I think it's kind of a nice day when I don't have to get out of my robe. So.
Yeah, but 2 weeks of it? You probably need to get out of your robe after 2 weeks.
Well, that's probably true. Well, actually, what I would do is I would take a shower and I'd just put on a different robe or wash the robe and put it back on. I mean, really, there's something about being able to stay in your robe all day that I really like. Mm-hmm. There in the chat, Cheryl has said there was a story when Arna finally told Carlos that he couldn't eat porridge for another day.
Oh,
that was really
hilarious.
hilarious.
I just watched that today. Yes, I watched that this
I'm going to
morning.
have to go binge watch because I watched a little bit of the first one, but I haven't watched any more of them. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, and they have a dog, that Freya, who looks like when I've seen her, she looks like she's a miniature poodle. I'm not 100% sure, but she looks like a poodle. Oh, Julie's back from her call.
Mm-hmm. And Jen has asked how she can find it, and it is on YouTube. And I bet
it is
if you
on
just
YouTube.
Go on YouTube. Yeah, you can put in Arna and Carlos, and you'll probably go right to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on their channel.
And we'll put a link. We'll put a link in the show notes too, but you won't want to wait till Saturday. Oh, so we have another little project. Marsha and I have a little project that we're going to be doing. Soon. Another one of those things that I dragged Marsha into.
Yeah. Shamed me into doing.
I wasn't trying to shame you. I was just putting it out there as a possibility. So
I'm excited about it.
While you were gone, Marsha, I was telling people how I dragged you into doing a live podcast.
Yeah.
Live stream. But anyway, so this next thing that I have dragged Marsha into is an online dog training class. Mm-hmm. Because my dog training class was canceled, and your agility classes are canceled now too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had been so excited about taking Bailey to obedience class, and so I was really disappointed. I mean, I understand why I certainly understand why they stopped the dog training class. But then I had been listening to a podcast that Kathy Straightfork had recommended. And that put me down a whole rabbit hole of dog training podcasts. And I discovered something called the Fenzi Dog Sports Academy. And so they actually have online dog training classes that you can sign up for. And you can sign up at all different levels. And so the level, there's like a gold, silver, and bronze level. And the bronze level is kind of like you're auditing the class. And that's what Marsha and I are doing. And then the silver and gold levels, you get more interaction. So there's a discussion board. It's really interesting. I never would have thought of doing a dog training class online, but there's a discussion board that you can participate in, and then you can upload your videos of your training sessions. And then the trainers will watch your videos and then comment on your videos and help you troubleshoot and problem solve and improve your technique, your physical technique of the dog training. And so the gold level and the silver level have the opportunity to upload videos and get feedback, and then also participate in a discussion board. And then the level Marsha and I are doing, we have the opportunity to read all of the discussion board and to see all of the videos and the feedback to the videos, but we aren't going to be able to upload anything, which I think is just fine, because if I had to do video homework and upload it on top of what I'm doing now, I don't think I could. I know I wouldn't be able to keep up, but I can do homework at home and then watch other people's.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It's a class. Well,
and Kelly, what I'm interested in, we talked a little bit about this just on text messages. That I was reading the course description, and some of the things I have to take this class because some of these things I don't know what they are. And the one thing is splitting versus lumping. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what that is. I got to find out what that is in dog training.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's about the I can't remember the exact title of the course, but the content of it is shaping, luring, and capturing behavior to train your dog. So anyway, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun. It starts April 1st, so we have a little bit of time. before we do it. And we'll keep you guys posted, but we may, Marsha and I may actually do video just that we submit to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Marsha's hearing about this for the first time. But I thought, that might be kind of fun. I have never videoed a training session. And so,
and I haven't either. And when I've been going over to where I've been doing the agility, when I've been going over there, I've wanted Ben to come and film me, because it's really easy when you're watching other people and their dogs, you can see what they're doing right and what they're not doing right. But it's hard to translate that in yourself. So what I always say about the agility is that our trainer will tell us what to do, but then translating that from your ear through your brain and then out your body, sometimes it's lost in translation. And so it'd be really good to have someone filming to know, because I think I'm doing something right, but it's really all about body position and movement more than it is voice that the dogs respond to. And so and timing, a lot of timing.
Yeah, and so this is kind of interesting, because at school, a lot of people who teach this type of like activity class where they have to see the student's technique, they were really concerned about how they were going to teach their classes. And so this is kind of a model. This is kind of a model for that. So it'll be interesting from that perspective too. But just a funny story about thinking you're doing something right until you can actually see yourself. There for a while, I was taking belly dancing classes at the college. Super fun. It was really, really fun. And the classes were held in the...
Kelly, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. I did belly dancing years ago. It was probably the worst experience of my life. Super embarrassing that my hips don't move that way. Very, very embarrassing.
Oh, well,
anyway, continue.
I just had the best time in this class, but it was held in the cafeteria of the college, and so there were, wasn't a dance studio. There were no mirrors. I couldn't see how I was doing. I thought, okay, yeah, I'm doing it. It feels like it's happening. What I'm supposed to be doing. I'm really good. This is what I thought in my head, and then the dance classroom opened up, and so they moved us back into the dance classroom with all the mirrors, and the very first class was soul crushing, because I was nowhere near as good as I thought I was when I could actually see it. I was like, okay, yeah, no. So I liked it much better when I couldn't see that I didn't look exactly like the instructor, because it sure felt like I was doing it right. So yeah, I think the dog training class will be fun. It'll be an interesting experience.
I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun.
We'll keep you posted. Otherwise, I think Bailey's doing really well. She just got up, so now she's standing looking out the window. But she's been really, really, she's fit into the household really well, and she's gotten more responsibility as she's gotten more responsible. She's gotten a little bit more freedom. So she still doesn't have a ton of freedom because she's a year-old German Shepherd with a lot of energy.
And how about off-leash work? How's she doing with the off-leash?
I did let her off-leash at Fort Ord last weekend. Mm-hmm. The trails are fairly deserted. There's a lot of trails, so there's a lot of time when we're out where there aren't a lot of people. So I was able to let her off-leash. I brought hot dogs, which are a really good treat. And I had her do on-leash work first, so she knew that she was getting really good rewards when she was doing things right. And then I let her off the leash at Fort Ord, and oh my gosh, she had the best time. There were a couple of big puddles, and she just went tearing through the puddles and splashing, and yeah, she just had a really good time. So probably about 30 minutes out of our 2.5-hour walk, she was off leash. So not a ton of time for her to get into trouble, but enough time for her to get some fun out of it. So and some good training. So yeah.
And then what about bees? Any news on bee activity?
Well, it's been so cold here, colder than usual, and I try not to go into the beehives unless it's in the high 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't had a lot of days that were in the high 60s that we didn't also have rain. And so I haven't been able to get into the hives. And then the times where it was available for me to get into the hives, I was having to do something else. So I haven't actually gone in, but I had 2 hives that survived over the winter out of 4. I think 4. So 2 of my hives survived out of winter out of 4. And then I did post on Instagram one day, the purple hive had this big like clump of bees, bearding they call it, hanging down off of the front of the hive on one of the warmer days. And that's not always a sign that they're going to swarm, but I think my purple hive swarmed because now it looks like they have far fewer bees than they originally did.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're still there. And then my other hive, I think also swarmed, or maybe the swarm came from somewhere else because one of the hives that died out now has activity. So a swarm has moved in to some of my equipment, which is perfect. I was hoping to lure some swarms with the empty equipment. So I'm now back up to 3 hives.
Okay.
But I haven't been in there. I haven't been inside. I can just see what's happening on the outside. So maybe next week it will warm. I keep saying maybe next week it will warm up. But I could inspect them at temperatures in the low 60s, but I like to only open them up when I think they'll be okay with me opening them up. I don't like to open them up knowing that it's going to make them mad. And if I open them up on a day that's going to rain or is in the low 60s, I know they're not going to be happy. And I prefer not to get stung, and I prefer them not to be mad at me. So, I know what else I wanted to say. I talked a little bit about maybe doing an Instagram live tour of my button stash. But I just wanted to remind listeners about our Instagram accounts because I sort of feel like, keeping connected is really important. I've had a couple of people email us and say, how much they enjoy being able to listen to the podcast. And I know from the podcast that I listen to about podcasting, they're saying that podcast downloads are down because people aren't commuting. There's no commute for them to listen to a podcast. But I think our downloads are actually up. And I know I'm looking for stuff to listen to. And, just to kind of stay connected. So I just wanted to remind people about our Instagram accounts. That's another way to kind of see what people are doing when you're stuck in your house and you don't get to interact with people.
If you show your button stash, I can show my yarn stash.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I don't have a button stash, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm 100 Projects on Instagram.
And I am Better in Motion. Kelly, we should talk about events too.
Okay.
So the last episode, I think in the last episode, we were still thinking we were going to the Knockers retreat, but we weren't sure. Oh, I know what happened. Mm-hmm. We were wondering about it, and I thought as soon as we finish recording, I'm going to go send an email and look at the discussion thread. And I went and opened up my email, and there was an email that had been sent about 5 minutes prior to that saying that Knockers was canceled. So the Knockers retreat is canceled, and it's been fun. We've had twice. We've had people in that group get together in Zoom for to sit and knit and talk, and that's been really fun. Mm-hmm. I was going to a retreat sponsored by Apple Fiber Studio in Bellingham, and the retreat was going to be held in Whistler, but that's been canceled. That's has to happen. We should talk about the Winter Weave Along and also our Cosmic Crisp yarn giveaway, which let's talk about the Cosmic Crisp yarn giveaway because that was tied to the Apple Fiber Studios.
And I brought it with me so I could show it, and now I don't see it.
There's a thread in the Ravelry group where you can go in and make a comment about your favorite colorway, and then we're going to draw a name from that thread and just enter by April 12th. Isn't that right, Kelly?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I've got a cough now. Yeah. I don't have the coronavirus. I just have a tickle in my throat.
Well, we've been talking. We've been on here it's now 3:45, so we've been on for over 2 hours, Marsha.
Okay. Well, and so
we always laugh about...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, just it takes a lot of time to talk about nothing, is what we always say.
Yeah, we were having dinner with Charlene and Gail at Stitches, and we were talking about podcasting and how we just talk about nothing, right? And then we got into this whole conversation about how long it takes to talk about nothing, and we got into we were laughing so hard about that we're like, we have to use that for a title of an episode.
Yes,
because it does take a lot of time to talk about nothing.
Well, and I was thinking it'd be really fun. What I was thinking of doing when going down to the Knockers retreat, but now we're not going to be together, is I had made, for fun for Kelly and myself, I made these coffee mugs with our logo on them, and then our tagline of, I don't know if you can see that, doing our part for World Fleece. And so I thought it'd be really fun for Gail and Charlene and Barb and Tracy to have mugs that made up that have that. It takes a lot of time to talk about nothing because I think podcasters would enjoy that. Oh, well, next year.
That's true.
But Kelly, we just have to mention too the Winter Weave Along, and that that's our other event that's going on. So that started October 15th. You've been participating in this more than I have. Actually, honestly, I've not done anything. I've been looking at it, but I haven't done any weaving. But that ends March 31st. And so we'll draw a name and have a prize.
Just a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days. So
just a couple of days. And I did not find the project bag with the yarn for the Cosmic Crisp yarn giveaway. And I know I brought it down here. I might have brought it back in for some dumb reason.
Did you check Bailey?
It's not here now. Robert took Bailey,
maybe
so
she has it.
I'm sure she wasn't taking. Well, that's how I know I brought it, because I brought it and another skein of yarn, and as I was walking, she was grabbing at the skein of yarn as I was coming into the trailer. So I know I brought it out here. I'm not sure what I did with it once I got here. I thought I had everything together, but I don't.
So
anyway, but the Winter Weave Along will end in just a couple of days when this gets out. On Saturday as an audio recording, it will just be a couple more days for the Winter Weave Along.
So I don't think we have anything else we need to talk about.
No, I don't either. I think that's enough.
I am going to say one last thing about about shelter in place, and during this time, and our governor Jay Inslee he's been giving press conferences, and one of the press conferences he said, if you have older people in the neighborhood, it might be good to call them or go knock on their door and check on them. And I thought, I should think about neighbors on where I'm living now. If there's any older neighbors I should check on. And I was mentally going down the block. And then it occurred to me, I'm the older neighbor. I have now reached the point I am the older neighbor. And because which I love, I'm surrounded on all four, across the street, on both north and south of me, and 3 families across the alley all have young children. They're young people with young children, and the whole block. I am the oldest person on the block. Which is really nice, but
gosh.
Yeah.
Has anyone come to check on you?
Well, they haven't come to check on me, knocking on the door or calling me, but I've seen them out, taking out garbage and walking. And they've said, is everything okay? They pretty much have all said, if you need anything, let me know. And I said the same thing too. Mm-hmm. So I'm not that old and decrepit, but it is funny. I am the old person on the street now. How times change, right?
Yeah. Funny. Well, it is. I have a friend who just a little bit older than me, and he's one of the managers at work, and he said, his boss said he wanted them to be on campus. And I'm like, you can't be on campus. You're in that age group that has to be careful. And he was like, don't be telling me that.
Well, I guess that will keep us young if we don't think of ourselves being in that category.
Right.
Then
that's right.
Then we'll always think of ourselves being young. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, Kelly, I am going to say goodbye, and I'm going to stop recording.
Okay. And just before you do, I just want to say hello to Kate, who just joined us. We're almost about to end. I'm going to stop my recording of the GarageBand too. So, all right, let's just say goodbye, and I'll stop my GarageBand recording. Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usfiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2 U's
doing our part for World Fleece.